Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Explore Maple Grove today. I'm your host, Shari McGuire, your local realtor and passionate explorer of all things Maple Grove. Joining us on this adventure today is Lance Gardner, owner of Yes Trees. Hi, Lance.
Hi, how's it going? Thank you very much for having me. I look forward to sharing my business with you.
Yeah, well, we're so thrilled to have you here today. And Yes Trees, tree removal and trimming services, they're located in the West Metro. And we're excited to dive deep into your journey and learn more about your Maple Grove area business. So why don't you talk about getting the business started? And I'm really curious about the name that you chose for your business. I bet you there's a story there.
There definitely is. We've been in business now for 4 years. I have been around trees since I was about 12 years old, so I've got quite a bit of experience past that 4 years that we've been in business. Um, As for the name of Yes Trees, I actually graduated college with a criminal justice degree. I played basketball all throughout college, and everybody, including myself, believed that I was going to go into some type of law enforcement, whether that was policing, whether that was juvenile corrections. One of my goals was to bridge the gap between young adults, kids, and policing in the inner cities.
Mhm.
So that was my drive and desire at the time. So when I graduated school and decided that the law enforcement field was in too much turmoil at the time for what I wanted to get into, understanding that it was going to come with a huge list of stressors. So I thought about new ways to uh, use my purpose and my um, desires to help kids and continue to be a positive role model in their life. So I decided that I was going to start a tree service my last year of college. So I came home and started telling my family and telling people that, and everybody was asking me, they were like, what are you going to do now? And I said, I'm going to start a tree service. And they were like, really, trees? And I would respond, yes, trees. So all the time people would ask me and were kind of in disbelief. And I had to reassure them that, yes, trees, I was starting a tree service.
Oh, it's so Yes
Um,
Trees.
yep.
I love it. I love it. That's super fun.
Yeah.
How that came out. Now it's interesting you said that you wanted this was a way for you to still connect with the youth. Tell me about that.
So I wouldn't say that trees per se are the way that I'm going to connect with the youth. There are some things that Yes Trees does. We do have a partnership with Great River Greening,
Mhm.
who plants and restores natural wildlife all throughout the state when it comes to parks and different wildlife reservations and things of that sort. So that is one way that there's oftentimes a lot of youth at those type of events, so that's cool. But in reality, I started this tree service so that I had a constant flow of income so that I could go and volunteer my time in the cities and
Mhm.
kind of do what I wanted to do without having the worry of how I was going to pay my bills and where my finances were going to come from. So this business is really just a way for me to have the opportunity to go and do my purpose. Right now, I am a part of a Twin Cities Men's Movement, which is a group of men with nonprofit organizations between St. Paul and Minneapolis, kind of brought together to be a conglomerate of leaders to use each other's resources. So that's what I'm doing right now, to try to help intervene and prevent some of the things that are going on in the cities with young kids, whether that's stealing cars, whether that's killing each other. There's a lot of things that are going on in the cities with kids like from the age of 13 on up. So we've come together and we're, out in the community and working on doing different things to help kind of prevent some of the things that are happening. And the tree service is what has allowed me to do that in my free time and commit more time to it, because now where we're at with the tree service, I have a group of guys who are out there every day,
Mhm.
show up every day and are doing the things on site. So now really my role is to do the estimates and get the jobs, which don't always require a full week of work. So it allows me to then, fulfill my purpose and step into that role now that we're at this point with the business.
Yeah, you've done a great job growing the business. I noticed the full team that you've got. And, it's great that you talk about how the business has given you the time you need to go do what is your passion for supporting the kids, because it doesn't have to be the same thing. It's just one enables the other. And for you, it was the finances are taken care of, and now you have the time to go invest in the kids.
Exactly. That was the goal and that was the plan, and it's coming to fruition. So for me, I look at it as a blessing. And we're just going to keep on moving forward, and I truly don't have the desire to be a huge corporate tree service with crews running all over the place and stuff like that. I really do want to stay small. Maybe have one more crew with 3 or 4 more guys, but
Mhm.
um that again, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm really not. So it's I don't want to get too big. There's a lot of things that come into owning a small business, and I
Mhm.
would like to keep that minimal as much as possible. So
Yeah. So what has surprised you most? You mentioned there's a lot that comes into play, and it is surprising for people. What surprised you the most about owning your own business?
just all the unexpected. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but every day, especially with what we do, and how hard we are on equipment with moving such heavy material.
Mhm.
There's always something that's breaking down, always
Mhm.
something that's going wrong. There's the resiliency and the determination to get through when things go wrong. We're in a very, very dangerous industry where every single day somebody is close to, severely hurting themselves. And I don't say that in a way that we're unsafe, but just because of the nature of our work. I mean, there's a reason that tree services have the highest workers' compensation rate in any industry in the
Oh,
entire state
yeah.
of Minnesota. So um, the resiliency, and then probably one of the top things as well is I've always been a very independent person. So having, 5, 6 people underneath me that I have to kind of cater to and appease to make sure that they're happy and that they want to be here and their needs are being met and so forth and so on. Having people that I kind of have to watch over. I mean, I provide them with their finances, their meals, they're taking care of their kids, um,
Mhm.
and so just having people underneath me that rely on me, which doesn't allow me to take the time sometimes or the breaks that I need because I have to do my job to support others. And so that's one thing that I didn't really think too much about is, there's days where I feel like I want to take a break or I don't want to do anything today or I need a little, I can't do that because now I do that and we start to run short on something or something slips, and now it's not just me that's being affected, but it's
Right.
6 other people.
It's a big responsibility because your crews are depending on you to keep going. And so that's great that you take it seriously. And it stinks that you don't get your break sometimes, but I'm sure they appreciate it, even though they don't always say it probably.
Yeah, that's very true.
So what would be something that most people wouldn't know about tree removal and tree trimming service?
Um, I think the biggest thing that we tend to run into is why things are so expensive, right? Like tree removal, tree trimming, and none of it's very cheap. It always comes with a costly bill. So I try my best to get my clients to understand what the costs are. I try to be transparent with what we're going to be doing, why your cost is so expensive. But usually that's very detailed onto their property, right? Like, okay, this tree is in your backyard. There's very little access. it's this tree is over a shed, something like that is what adds value or cost to that specific tree.
Mhm.
But what people don't think about is all of the things that they don't see. For instance, because we're so hard on our equipment, things break down. We have to have the funds ready to go to either rent a new piece of equipment or pay excess money to get it fixed immediately right then and there, because as a small business, we don't have backups. We don't have, one thing goes down and we've got six others that, like big, large corporations have, they have their backups. We don't have that. So
Mhm.
we have to raise our price a little bit so that we're prepared when those things do happen. Um, and then, of course, the things like marketing and
Mhm.
our insurance rates are high. Like I said, we have the highest workers' comp rate out of any industry. People don't understand that, which is it's a high number. It's not easy. So that all kind of plays a factor into it. And that's one reason why, with many service industries, you if you're one of the companies that, lower your prices and try to, get every single job and be, I wouldn't say be cheap, like just be one of the cheaper services, that leaves you very little room when something goes wrong, right? So you don't have those excess funds. And again, I'm not saying that I'm loaded, but I know as a business owner that I have to have that safety blanket. I have to have that security fund. So those smaller company, or not smaller companies, but the guys that charge less, they're not prepared when those things do happen, and all of a sudden, just like that, you're out of business, or you're never going to be able to grow and get ahead because you're constantly trying to restart. You're constantly trying to, okay, my equipment broke down, I don't have the funds to fix it, I can't help my clients, they went to somebody else.
Yeah.
Now, a month and a half has gone by, and now I have to start all over again with building my clientele base and all these things. So, um, it's, and I would say for Yes Trees, we're right below cost wise. I feel like we're right below the bigger corporations like Rainbow and Davy Tree Service and Asplund, those big corporate names. I would say that we're less, we're below their cost. Their cost can be so high because they have so much work, right? So they can bid stuff high because they have all of the work that they could possibly ever need, so they're able to raise those prices. So we're just a little below that because we don't have all the work that we could ever want. We are always needing more work. But I understand, and I have the mindset of what it takes to stay sustainable and to continue being that tree service for years to come and not get put behind.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say the biggest thing that homeowners don't know and understand is that when we give our bid, it might be higher than the lowest, the cheapest bid that you get, but there's a reason for that. And it's not because I just want to take all your money and overbid the job and get extra things. That's not why I'm doing it. It's all so that Yes Trees can stay sustainable for the future and not just be here for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. People forget that, when they go to their job, they're going to get paid, this much each week. And their boss doesn't come to them and say, well, it's this week, I can't afford to pay you. So, we're not going to pay you this week, even though you're going to have to work extra hard. When it comes to service and small businesses, you've got to put enough in there so that you can sustain your business and be around for tomorrow. And you've got lots of people counting on you. So it's interesting how that mentality comes into play of, well, I want the cheapest deal, but cheap isn't always the best. That one might put the tree to land on your house, and now you really got a problem.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
want that for
No,
sure.
you don't. And it actually it happens a lot. It doesn't make the media, or it doesn't make the news that a tree fell or somebody got injured, but it happens a lot. And one thing I will mention really quick before I forget, that's super important. Whoever you're hiring for when it comes to tree work, make sure that that person has the proper insurance, because there are a lot of people that are out here cutting down trees, and it's a very dangerous job, as I've stated before, and they do not have the proper insurance. And if something happens, that's going to be on the homeowners. Um, it's going to be their liability, their insurance is going to have to come into play.
Mm.
And it's going to be very, very dicey. And I've heard, being in the tree industry, you hear all the stories. I mean, my stepdad's been doing this for 25 years. He's seen every type of tree person, every type of tree business, every type of tree anything that you could see. And I hear the stories. So just make sure that they have insurance, and not only get, see the physical form of the insurance, but also call the number that's on
Oh,
that insurance, because a lot, I'm not going to say a lot, but there are people out here that have fraudulent insurance and will show you that. And if you call that policy number, the company would tell you it's inactive. So
mm,
um, make sure you take that precaution, and yeah, just do
very good
that for your
advice.
own sake and safety.
Very good advice. Now, yeah, it does bring up an interesting question. You talked about the workers' comp, and that's for the safety for if one of your people got hurt out there. But what about if you do have that, oops, a tree fell on the house? Is that the homeowner's insurance then that kicks in?
If the company doesn't have insurance, yes, and then that's a whole nother ball game. But if we have insurance, if we did something to damage something, then yes, our insurance would cover it.
Okay.
Honestly, typically, we've never damaged anything major. So if it is something small, I mean, things do happen.
Mm,
I try to just, talk with the client and say, hey, how can we fix this? What route do we need to go to make you happy, so that, we can continue to have your business in the future, or at least not leave with a bad taste in your mouth, whatever the case is. So doing that, we haven't had to use our insurance yet on
mm.
anything.
Well, that's good. That's a great way to approach it because, you want to make friends, not enemies in the business.
Yep, 100%. Word of mouth is absolutely huge when it comes to small business.
Oh, absolutely. So last question would be, what do you love most about Maple Grove?
I really, really, really do love and enjoy Maple Grove. I've lived here for 3 years. Uh, I came here after I graduated school. I have a family member that is out here and is pretty involved in the community,
Hmm.
with Arbor Lakes and stuff like that. So um, soon as I moved in here, I mean, I love the fact that Maple Grove has a small feel to it, but it has everything that you could need within 10 minutes.
Yes.
Um, so, it is growing and it is getting bigger and bigger. So, that small feel, I mean, we'll kind of see how long that stays, because there are definitely a lot more people coming this way. But as it sits right now, um, it's got this small local feel where it
Mhm.
seems like you go somewhere and you know somebody, and um, that's what I enjoy about it. Um, and again, you can find anything under the sun here in Maple Grove, and even more things are coming out here the bigger it gets. So um,
Mhm.
I also like that, 5 minutes north is Dayton, where there's like really nothing. So it seems to be isolated. And yeah, I like the people. I like the newness of it. Again, it seems small, but it also is like brand new. So,
Yeah.
I like a lot of things about Maple Grove, but that's probably the biggest thing that feeling wise I get from it.
I need to like take all the videos that I've ever done and clip out I like the small field. I like the small field. Like
Mhm.
everybody says that. And so, I mean, it's true. It just feels like a small community, which is weird. We've got 70,000 people here the
Yep.
last time they counted. That's not a couple people, but they've just done such a phenomenal job with the city planning, I guess, that it
Mhm.
just feels that way, so it's pretty cool. I love it too. I've been here 22 years. So it's been a good ride for us here. It's changed a lot over the years,
Oh, I believe it.
for
Then
sure,
you,
but
you
it's
know
good.
what I mean, how there was hardly anything out here when it comes to trees and houses before, and
Yeah.
now, I think I mentioned that to you off of before we started talking, but that's part of the reason I also got into the business, because all these new houses are being built in the area, and so with that comes new trees.
Mhm.
So the way I think, when I started, I was thinking 30, 30, really 40 until I die years down the road,
Mhm.
um, where these new trees are eventually going to need somebody to tend to them. And if yes, trees can be one of those names that people know everywhere they go, I think that that will be huge for us because also, like I stated, there hasn't, because, you know, 15 years ago, Maple Grove was small. There hasn't been a need for other tree services to be out here. A lot of Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Chaska, those areas, because they all have mature trees. So for us, this market right now, getting involved and being a prominent name in the community will definitely stick for years to come as long as we, God willing, are still around.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lance. It was such a pleasure to meet you. And if you need tree removal or tree trimming service, make sure that you give Lance a call and his team would be more than happy to help you out. Um, I'm your host, Shari McGuire, your local realtor and passionate explorer of all things Maple Grove. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Thanks, Sherry. Bye.